Welcome to this Grade 8 St. Paul Civics Explainer. Today, we're diving straight into constitutional structure and core principles, exploring how the United States Constitution acts as an incredible, meticulous architectural blueprint for organizing power. To kick things off, we're going to frame our entire analysis around one specific, really fascinating puzzle. How can a constitution organize power while limiting abuse of power? It is a massive balancing act, and figuring out how the founders tackled it is what we're doing today. Here is our agenda. 1. The blueprint of power. 2. 6 core civic principles. 3. The school council analogy. 4. Constitutional text in action. And 5. Fact checks and review. Section 1. The blueprint of power. Okay, so the Constitution is highly organized from start to finish. Think of it like a map. It kicks off with the preamble, which is the introduction. Then Articles I through 3 actually establish the 3 branches of government: legislative, executive, and judicial. Moving on, Article 4 outlines the relationships between the states. Article 5 lays out the amendment process for changing the document. Article 6 includes the supremacy rule. And finally, Article 7 describes the process for ratification. Section 2. 6 core civic principles. Let's break down the 6 pillars that hold this whole structure up, starting with popular sovereignty. Basically, this is the principle that governmental power originates from and is sustained by the consent of the people. In other words, it all starts with you. The government acts directly on behalf of the citizens. Next up is limited government. This one is absolutely crucial. It means there are strict constitutional restrictions on the national government's capacity to act. By legally restricting what the government can do, we protect our personal liberties from encroachment. They literally can't just make up the rules as they go. Then we've got republicanism. This is a system where the people elect representatives to make laws and decisions on their behalf. You obviously don't have the time to vote on every single local or national law yourself, right? So you elect someone to convey your interests into the policymaking process. Now here's a really brilliant concept: separation of powers. This is apportioning government authority horizontally across 3 independent branches: the legislature, executive, and judiciary. It completely prevents any single group from hoarding all the control. And working hand in hand with that is checks and balances. This is a structural system where each branch possesses the ability to limit or check the power of the other branches. Nobody gets a free pass. They literally have to cooperate to get things done. Finally, federalism. This is an institutional arrangement that apportions power vertically between 2 autonomous levels of government, national and state. It means you are governed by both your state government and the national government, and both have the capacity to act directly on your behalf. This visual perfectly captures the difference between those last 2 ideas. It's so important to contrast these. Separation of powers is a horizontal division. Power is shared across the 3 branches on the exact same level, like rooms on one floor of a house. Federalism, though, is a vertical separation. Think of it like a ladder, dividing power vertically between the national government at the top and the state governments below. Section 3. The school council analogy. Let's make this super concrete using a quick school council analogy. Step 1. When students elect representatives, that demonstrates republicanism. Step 2. If the council proposes a fair rule, that acts as our separation of powers. They have the specific job of lawmaking. Step 3. If a principal or another rule checks that decision, well, that mirrors checks and balances. And Step 4. Distinguishing a rule that only applies to your specific school from a broader statewide educational responsibility, that highlights federalism. Section 4. Constitutional text in action. So where is all this actually written down? Grounded directly in the text, Articles I through 3 assign those specific horizontal powers to the 3 branches, and Article V addresses federal supremacy, ensuring that when the national and state levels share vertical power, the Constitution itself remains the supreme law of the land. Section 5. Fact checks and review. Let's clear up a couple of common myths. A major misconception is that the president makes all laws. The fact is, the Constitution assigns lawmaking directly to the legislative branch, Congress. The executive branch has totally different responsibilities, primarily enforcing the laws. Here's another myth. Federalism means the national government controls every single state decision. Not true. The fact is that federalism divides and sometimes shares authority. The exact allocation of that power depends strictly on constitutional provisions and the specific issue at hand. Okay, it is time for a quick pause check. Which principle creates a vertical division of power between the national government and the states? Take just a second to lock in your answer. The answer is federalism. It creates two autonomous levels of government that divide and share power on that vertical ladder we talked about earlier. Here is your second pause check. Under Article 1 of the Constitution, which branch is assigned the power to make laws? Think back to our blueprint map. The answer is the legislative branch. The Constitution explicitly assigns those specific lawmaking responsibilities directly to Congress. To briefly recap, the Constitution organizes power through very careful horizontal and vertical divisions. Which brings us to our final transfer question. How does dividing government power help protect self-government?